Types of government. First of all, the word government comes from the Greek verb kubernao, which means to steer with a rudder. A government, then, is the entity, usually a group of people, that determines how a country, state, or community is run. In other words, it is that which constitutes the governing authority of a political unit or organization. It creates and enforces laws on everything connected to the daily life of a community, and all its members are expected to abide by them. Some of the most famous types of government are democracy, republic, federalism, monarchy, aristocracy, totalitarianism, dictatorship, communism, socialism, and anarchy. Democracy. The word democracy comes from the two Greek words demos, which means people, and kratos, which means power or rule. Democracy, therefore, literally means power or rule of the people. Democracy is a form of government in which people elect representatives to make decisions on their behalf. Power in a democracy, therefore, is ultimately with the people. They have the right to vote and participate in the political process. There are many types of democracies. They can be direct, representative, or have different levels of participation and representation, but all have the main feature of the people being able to decide who will lead and represent their interests. This happens through the process of free and fair elections. Republic. In a republic, the government is usually headed by a president or a prime minister, who is elected by the people or by the representatives. A republic can have different levels of participation and representation. They can be parliamentary or presidential, democratic or not. In a democratic republic, the people choose their leaders through elections. However, in countries where a president is in a ceremonial role, he may be appointed by the government rather than elected. In some undemocratic republics, the leaders are chosen by a small number of people, and may stay in office for a long time, even without being re-elected. In some cases, there may be elections, but the voters are not given the freedom of who to vote for. Federalism. Federalism is a form of government in which power is divided between a central government and smaller regional governments. The central government has the authority to make decisions on national issues, while the regional governments have the authority to make decisions on local issues. Federalism is often used in large, diverse countries where there are significant cultural or geographic differences between the regions. Monarchy. A monarchy is a form of government in which a single person, usually a king or queen, has complete control over the government. The monarch is usually born into the position, inherits the power to rule, and holds it for life. In the past, most monarchies were absolute. The monarch had the authority to make all the decisions, while there was little or no participation from the people. In some cases, there was a parliament or council to advise the monarch, but he or she still has the final say. Today, most monarchies are constitutional. Monarchs act as head of state, filling a ceremonial role with little or no power in the actual governance of the country. They follow a written constitution that sets out the laws for how the country will be governed, as well as the rights and responsibilities of its people. Aristocracy. Aristocracy refers to a government in which a small elite ruling class, called aristocrats, have power over lower socioeconomic classes. Members of the aristocracy are usually chosen based on their family or history, upbringing, and education. Aristocracies often connect ethnicity and wealth with both the ability and right to rule. Totalitarianism. Totalitarianism is a form of government in which the government has absolute control over every aspect of the people's lives. The government uses propaganda, censorship, and repression to maintain its power. The people have no say in the political process, and must conform to the government, or else face terrible consequences. Totalitarianism is often associated with fascist or communist regimes. Dictatorship. A dictatorship is a form of government in which a single person or a small group of people have complete control over the government. The dictator has the authority to make all the decisions, while the people have no participation in it. Dictatorships are often characterized by repression, censorship, and human rights abuses. They are usually established through a coup or a revolution, or are inherited from a previous dictator. Communism. Communism is a political and economic system in which there is little or no private ownership of anything. Property is owned by the community rather than by individuals. The government controls all economic activity, including what food to grow, what goods to manufacture, to whom they are sold, and at what prices. While individuals are given limited personal freedom, they can only choose, for example, where to travel or how to spend their money. Socialism. Socialism is a political and economic system that encourages cooperation, rather than competition among citizens. The whole community owns the means of production and distribution of goods and services, while a centralized government manages it. In this way, each person contributes to and benefits from the system according to their needs and capabilities. And lastly, anarchy. Anarchy comes from the Greek word, anarchos, which means, without a ruler. Anarchy, then, is a form of government in which there is no government. The people have absolute freedom, and there are no laws that govern them. Anarchy is often associated with violence and chaos, although some anarchists believe that it is possible to have a peaceful and cooperative society without a government. Many different forms of government have been tried throughout history. No one form of government is perfect, each has its own strengths and weaknesses. It is therefore the responsibility of the community to balance these qualities, and choose the form of government that best serves their needs and goals. If you like this video, please share it with your friends, and subscribe to our channel for more related content. Thank you, and see you in our next videos.